For decades, we've been taught to think of quantum mechanics as the realm of the ultra-cold and the ultra-small. A ghostly set of rules governing subatomic particles in isolated, pristine laboratory conditions. We pictured life in all its messy, glorious complexity as a classical clockwork machine. But a wave of stunning discoveries is shattering that view. It turns out that life isn't just subject to quantum mechanics. It actively harnesses its bizarre properties. Quantum effects like superposition, entanglement, and tunneling aren't just footnotes in a physics textbook. They are fundamental tools used in photosynthesis, animal navigation, our sense of smell, and even the mutation of our DNA. In this episode, we're going on a journey to uncover how nature became the world's first and most successful quantum engineer. We'll explore how these discoveries are not just rewriting biology textbooks, but are also inspiring a new generation of breakthroughs in medicine, renewable energy, and even the future of computing. So prepare to have your view of life itself fundamentally challenged. The story of life is far stranger and far more connected than we ever dared to imagine. Let's start with the single most important biological process on our planet, photosynthesis. It's the engine of Earth's biosphere, the silent, constant miracle that converts sunlight, water, and air into the energy that powers nearly all life. We learn about it in grade school, but what we don't learn is that it hides a profound quantum secret. On the surface, it seems simple enough. A photon of sunlight strikes a chlorophyll molecule in a leaf. This creates a tiny packet of energy, an excitation. This energy packet then has to travel through a dense, complex maze of proteins to reach a specific destination called the reaction center. Only there can its energy be safely converted into chemical fuel. Now, if this were a classical everyday process, that packet of energy would behave like a person trying to find their way out of a hedge maze in the dark. It would take a random walk, bumping into dead ends, backtracking, and trying different paths one by one. This process would be slow, and much of the energy would be lost as wasted heat along the way. If plants relied on this classical method, they would be horribly inefficient, and life on Earth would look very different if it existed at all. But here's the mind-blowing part. Photosynthesis achieves a staggering energy transfer efficiency, approaching 100%. How? Groundbreaking research, notably from UC Berkeley in 2007, revealed the answer: quantum coherence. Instead of behaving like a lost particle, the energy packet leverages the quantum principle of superposition. It doesn't just take one path. It exists as a wave of possibility that explores every single possible path simultaneously. Imagine dropping a pebble into a still pond. The ripples spread out in all directions at once. In the same way, this energy wave instantly samples the entire protein maze, and through a process of constructive interference, it finds the most direct and efficient route to the reaction center in femtoseconds. That's a millionth of a billionth of a second. What makes this truly remarkable is that it's happening at room temperature, inside the noisy, bustling environment of a living cell. This was thought to be impossible. Quantum coherence is famously fragile. The slightest disturbance or warmth should destroy it. Yet, nature has evolved a way not just to create these quantum states, but to protect and sustain them. The protein structure itself seems to act as a perfectly tuned scaffold, shielding the quantum coherence from the chaotic environment long enough for it to do its job. It's as if nature designed a biological noise-canceling headphone for its energy transfer. This discovery is more than just a biological curiosity. It's a blueprint for a technological revolution. For all our advancements, our best solar panels are still clumsy and inefficient compared to a humble leaf. Most commercial solar cells convert only about 20 to 22% of sunlight into electricity. A significant portion of that energy is lost as heat because the electrons, once excited by sunlight, just rattle around and lose their energy before they can be collected. But what if we could build solar cells that think like a plant? Researchers are now deeply invested in designing bio-inspired or quantum solar cells. The goal is to mimic nature's strategy. Instead of just using silicon, they are developing new organic materials and molecular structures that can create and maintain quantum coherence. Imagine a solar panel designed not as a simple grid, but as an engineered quantum landscape. When light strikes it, the energy wouldn't just trickle through randomly. It would enter a quantum superhighway, exploring all routes at once to be whisked directly to an electrode with almost no loss. These advanced solar cells could theoretically bypass the standard efficiency limits of conventional technology. We're talking about systems for both energy generation and storage that are far more robust and efficient, all by learning from a 3 billion euro quantum technology we call a leaf. Now, let's leave the world of plants and take to the skies. The migration of birds is one of nature's most awe-inspiring spectacles. A tiny European robin, weighing less than an ounce, can navigate thousands of miles from Africa to Europe with unerring accuracy, returning to the same garden year after year. How does it do it? It has no GPS, no map, no compass. Or does it? The answer, scientists now believe, lies in a quantum compass built directly into the bird's eyes. The mechanism centers on a protein called cryptochrome, found in the retina. When a photon of light enters the bird's eye and strikes this protein, it triggers the formation of something called a radical pair of two molecules, each with an unpaired electron. Here's where it gets truly strange. These two electrons become quantumly entangled. This is the spooky action at a distance that so baffled Einstein. The two electrons, no matter how far apart they are within the protein, are linked in a single quantum state. Their fates are intertwined. The key is that the state of this entangled pair, specifically how their spins are aligned, is incredibly sensitive to the direction of external magnetic fields. The Earth's magnetic field, though weak, is strong enough to influence these entangled electrons. Depending on how the bird orients its head relative to magnetic field lines, the entangled state will change. This change, in turn, affects the chemical reactions that follow, ultimately sending a signal to the bird's brain. What does this mean for the bird? It means the bird sees the Earth's magnetic field. It's not a feeling like hot or cold. It's a visual pattern, like a filter or an overlay superimposed on its normal vision. It might look like a band of light or a patch of darkness in the sky that shifts as the bird turns its head, providing a constant, reliable directional heading. The proof? In controlled experiments, when scientists expose these birds to very weak, oscillating radio frequency fields, just strong enough to disrupt the delicate quantum entanglement of the radical pair, their navigational ability vanishes. They become lost. This is powerful evidence that this isn't some classical chemical process. It's a true quantum sensor at work. And it turns out, birds aren't the only members of this exclusive quantum club. Evidence is mounting that this form of magnetoreception is surprisingly widespread. Sea turtles, which navigate vast, featureless oceans to find the exact beach where they were born, are thought to use a similar mechanism. So do salmon on their epic upstream journeys. Even insects like monarch butterflies and fruit flies show signs of magnetic sensing linked to cryptochrome. Some bacteria even contain tiny magnetic particles called magnetosomes that align themselves with the Earth's magnetic field, like microscopic compass needles. Researchers are investigating whether these too might exploit quantum effects to achieve their remarkable precision. The implications are, once again, enormous. We live in a world utterly dependent on GPS. But GPS signals are weak, easily jammed, and non-existent underwater, underground, or in dense urban canyons. By reverse engineering the quantum compass of a bird, we could develop ultra-sensitive magnetic detectors for a new generation of navigation systems that work anywhere on Earth without needing a satellite. This could revolutionize everything from military operations and autonomous drones to geological surveying and even medical imaging, where precise magnetic field detection is critical. Let's move on to another of our senses, smell. For over a century, the dominant theory of olfaction has been the lock and key model. It's a simple, intuitive idea. A smell molecule of a specific shape, the key, floats into your nose and fits perfectly into a nerve receptor of a matching shape, the lock. This triggers a signal to the brain and you perceive a smell. But this model has some serious holes. For instance, there are molecules that are shaped identically like mirror images of each other, yet one might smell of spearmint and the other of caraway. Conversely, molecules with vastly different shapes can sometimes produce very similar smells. The lock and key theory can't fully explain this. Enter the vibrational theory of olfaction, a radical idea that suggests our sense of smell is a quantum sense. Proposed by biophysicist Luca Turin, this theory posits that our smell receptors don't just detect a molecule's shape. They detect the unique way its atoms vibrate. Every molecule has a distinct vibrational frequency, like a tiny invisible tuning fork. According to this theory, when a smell molecule enters a receptor, an electron on one side of the receptor is poised to jump to the other. But it can't, because there's an energy barrier in the way. However, if the smell molecule has the exact right vibrational frequency, it can absorb energy from the electron, allowing the electron to perform an astonishing quantum feat: tunneling. The electron doesn't climb over the energy barrier. It vanishes from one side and reappears on the other, as if it has passed through a solid wall. This tunneling event completes an electrical circuit and triggers the nerve signal. Each distinct vibrational frequency triggers a different set of receptors, creating the rich tapestry of smells we experience. It's the difference between a key simply fitting a lock and a key that also has to play the right musical chord to open it. While still debated, this theory is supported by fascinating evidence. Studies have shown that fruit flies, and even humans, can distinguish between two versions of the same molecule where the only difference is that some hydrogen atoms have been replaced by a heavier isotope deuterium. The shape is identical, but the heavier atoms cause the molecule to vibrate at a lower frequency, and it smells different. This quantum insight is sparking innovation in the form of electronic noses. Imagine a device that can smell disease on your breath, detect tiny amounts of contaminants in food, or identify explosives with unparalleled sensitivity, all by sensing the quantum vibrations of molecules. The quantum weirdness goes even deeper, right to the core machinery of life. Enzymes are the catalysts of life, speeding up biochemical reactions by factors of millions or billions. Without them, digestion would take decades and life as we know it would grind to a halt. Classically, enzymes are thought to work by lowering the activation energy of a reaction, essentially making the hill a reactant has to climb much smaller. But even this doesn't fully account for their incredible speed. A growing body of evidence suggests that enzymes also use quantum tunneling. In many crucial reactions, particles like protons or hydrogen atoms don't have enough energy to classically leap over the energy barrier. Instead, the enzyme holds the molecules in such a precise orientation that the particle can simply tunnel through the barrier, instantly appearing on the other side. It's like teleporting through a mountain instead of climbing it. And then there's DNA, the blueprint of life itself. DNA mutations are the engine of evolution, but what causes them? While many are caused by chemicals or radiation, some seem to be spontaneous. Back in 1944, Erwin Schrödinger, one of the fathers of quantum mechanics, proposed a startling idea in his book, What is Life? He suggested that the code of life might be subject to quantum jumps. Specifically, the hydrogen bonds that hold the two strands of DNA together rely on the position of single protons. Through quantum tunneling, a proton can momentarily jump to the other side of the bond, creating a rare, unstable form of a DNA base. If this happens at the exact moment the DNA is replicating, it can cause the wrong base to be inserted into the new strand, creating a point mutation, a permanent change in the genetic code. If this is true, it means that quantum mechanics is not just enabling life's processes, but is actively shaping its evolution at the most fundamental level. This all leads to a profound question. How did life, evolving in a warm, chaotic world, ever managed to harness such incredibly fragile quantum effects? The answer seems to lie in the elegant design of biological molecules, sculpted over billions of years by natural selection. Proteins, for example, are not just floppy chains of amino acids. They fold into incredibly specific, stable structures that act as protective sanctuaries. They create tiny, isolated environments that can shield a quantum state, like coherence or entanglement, from the noisy chaos of the cell for just long enough to perform a function. Even more amazingly, some systems may have evolved to do the opposite, to use the noise of the environment to their advantage. In a phenomenon called environmentally assisted quantum transport, random fluctuations in the surrounding protein can actually help push the quantum energy wave in the right direction, preventing it from getting stuck and enhancing the efficiency of the transfer. This suggests that many biological systems may operate near a quantum critical point, a delicate balancing act on the very edge between the predictable, classical world and the strange, probabilistic quantum world. Life, it seems, has learned to cherry-pick the best of both realms, leveraging quantum speed and efficiency when needed, while relying on classical stability for everything else. It's a testament to the sheer genius of evolution. Taking this one step further, some scientists are now proposing that quantum mechanics wasn't just a tool that life learned to use. It might have been essential for the origin of life itself. The formation of the first self-replicating molecules from the primordial soup is one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in science. Quantum effects could provide a piece of the puzzle. For example, theories suggest that quantum entanglement between the nuclei of phosphorus atoms, a key element in DNA and cellular energy, could have acted as a catalyst, helping to link the first building blocks of life together in a stable, replicable way. From this perspective, life didn't just stumble into a quantum world and adapt to it. Life may have emerged from it. The quantum advantage was perhaps the first advantage selected for by nature, influencing the very chemistry that allowed life to begin. Perhaps the most fascinating convergence is with the field of quantum computing. One of the biggest hurdles in building a functional quantum computer is a problem called decoherence. Quantum bits, or qubits, are extremely sensitive. The slightest vibration or temperature fluctuation can destroy their quantum state, leading to errors. That's why today's quantum computers are massive, fragile machines kept in near absolute zero refrigerators. And yet, a simple plant or bird is routinely maintaining quantum coherence in a warm, wet, and noisy environment. Nature, it seems, solved the decoherence problem billions of years ago. By studying how biological systems use their molecular architecture to protect and manipulate quantum states, engineers may uncover entirely new principles for building robust, fault-tolerant quantum computers that can operate without extreme cooling. Life itself might hold the key to unlocking the next era of information processing. We began this journey by asking if life operates on hidden rules. The answer we found is a resounding yes. Quantum biology reveals a universe where life is not a passive bystander to the laws of physics, but an active and brilliant participant. It shows us that from the way a leaf captures a sunbeam to the way a bird finds its home, from the scent of a rose to the very code of our DNA, quantum effects are not the exception. They are woven into the very fabric of biology.